Here's Mike Vrabel on his message to the New England Patriots after they lost Super Bowl 60.
I reminded them that we're 307 days into what hopefully is a long, successful relationship and program, and that it's okay to be disappointed. We have to be disappointed and upset together. And, like I always do, I tell them I'm appreciative of them. I'm thankful. I'm grateful that I get to coach them. And, we don't want to – part of our identity is not being a front runner. And so, again, just like every year somebody's going to lose this game, and we have to remember what it feels like and make sure that it's not repeated.
I mentioned at some point in the past 2 weeks that there used to be a much more damning stigma that applied to the team that lost the Super Bowl. Like you're a loser if you lose the Super Bowl, which is just stupid. We do need to revel in the fact, the Patriots should, that they got there. Hell, getting to the AFC Championship or the NFC Championship is a significant accomplishment. To be down to the final 4 teams out of 32, I think that we need to not view losses in those games as some sort of a massive failure. Now, I'm not making a participation trophy argument here, but there is something to be said to earning the right to participate in a conference championship game or a Super Bowl. So, yeah, the Patriots didn't win, but they were there. And there's 30 other teams that would have loved to have been there. Now, would 30 other teams love to have lost? I don't know. But they would have loved to have the chance. They'd love to have the chance. And that's just the way it goes. There's got to be a loser. And that doesn't make you a loser. And I'd like to think we've evolved past that viewpoint back in the 70s. And I don't know, maybe that was just the way the kids were, but I just had that vibe that if you and now it didn't help that the Vikings lost 3 of them during the time that I was paying attention. They lost 1, thankfully, before I was paying attention. But I had to deal with that on Monday morning at school 3 different times, especially after a loss to the Steelers. So maybe I associate that more negatively than others do.
I think we just found some childhood trauma for Mike Florio, guys. Yeah. We gotta put him on the couch here and
but I will say this. The childhood trauma day after Vikings losing the Super Bowl, still not in the same universe as having to leave the Super Bowl for reasons unrelated to choice. But anyway, So let's celebrate the Patriots. That's not a fake clap, and that's not pandering. They got to the Super Bowl. They had a solid year. And somebody emailed me during the game. Can you explain to me how Drake May finished second for the MVP after the way he's played the last few weeks? And I said, well, here's the explanation. They vote on MVP the day after the regular season ends, not after the playoffs end. Mm-hmm. Does that help you? Like, it's a regular season award.
Yes.
And the idea that Drake May losing the game invalidates the fact that and I voted for him first. I had to pick between one or the other. I voted for him first. And for me, it was as simple as this. And it comes down to a little thing here, a little thing there. Matthew Stafford had a chance to win that Thursday night game and nail down the 1 seed for the Rams, and he didn't. And Drake May did more with that team than we would have ever expected him to do. And Drake May got my MVP vote, and Matthew Stafford was second. And nothing that happens in the playoffs changes that. He got to the Super Bowl and Stafford didn't. Did Stafford play better against the Seahawks than May? Yes. How much of it was May's shoulder? I don't know. Would Stafford have thrived behind Will Campbell at left tackle? I don't know. But nothing that happens in the playoffs changes the regular season. So May had a solid year. They got to the Super Bowl, and they lost, and that's that. Did we already play Vrabel on Drake May's performance?
No.
I'm jet-lagged. That's my excuse.
I thought that's what you were leading right into, Mike. You were doing such a good job, and then you doubted yourself.
Thank you. I'm going to use jet-lagged for as long as I can, even though I feel perfectly fine. Here's Mike. That's the surest sign you're jet-lagged, by the way. Here's Drake May, or Mike Vrabel, on Drake May's Super Bowl performance.
We can sit here and try to put it on one guy. You'll be disappointed because that'll never happen. It starts with us as coaching staff and making sure that, that we're doing our part. And then obviously we have to be able to execute. We got to be able to protect. When we do protect, we have to be able to progress through and throw the ball to the guy that's open and, and help the quarterback. And then he's got to be better. Like, that's just how it goes. So, that's never going to change.
They've definitely found the guy they can build around. They're just scratching the surface on Drake May in the Josh McDaniels offense. And yes, the Super Bowl wasn't great, but let's see what they do with it. Let's see where it goes from here. It's all about what this leads to. And we shall see. It's going to be part of the fun. It still could be the start of a new dynasty for the Patriots. They just didn't win one in their first chance to do so.
I think one of the things that's probably going to help Drake May the most is the fact that I don't see Josh McDaniels leaving New England, right? I mean, Mac Jones said it at some point, and he was joking about it last week on Radio Row. Like, okay, you had a good rookie year with Josh McDaniels, then Josh McDaniels leaves, and Mac Jones goes, yeah, thanks, Josh. I don't think that's going to be an issue with Drake May, and I think that will certainly help Drake May's progress and the ability to recover from a Super Bowl loss and, potentially not finish a slim second place, but win an MVP and continue to elevate the Patriots going forward.
Yeah. Mike Vrabel has the perfect situation because if you're a defensive coach and you have a young franchise quarterback or potential franchise quarterback, we'll see if he ends up being a top 5 guy. He's not there yet. But the offensive coordinator ultimately gets hired away as a head coach. Look what the Eagles have dealt with. 1 year, the offensive coordinator, boom, head coach. Next year, up, fired. Next year, boom, head coach. Next year, up, fired. They're not going to have that. Now, I wonder how many more great years before McDaniels possibly, maybe. It is weird that there were no sniffs whatsoever. And I talked to some people in advance of the Super Bowl because that was one of the potential items to make its way into the Super Bowl pregame show. Why was there no love for Josh McDaniels in this hiring cycle? And he's got 2 massive failures as a head coach with the Broncos and then with the Raiders. But how much of that, especially the Raiders, how much of that's on him? How much of it is intrinsic to the Raiders? I'd love to know that. And if I'm looking for a head coach, don't I at least take a look at the possibility? I mean, I made this argument as it relates to the Bills' failure to consider Bill Belichick once they interviewed Phillip Rivers. But I look at it this way. If you're going to interview Phillip Rivers, you are suggesting that you are engaged in a level of care and detail that would suggest you're going to take a look at others that would seem on the surface not quite ordinary. McDaniels, Belichick. Wouldn't that have been a coup to steal McDaniels from the Patriots and make him your head coach? Don't you at least consider it? Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.